Has entered the chat. Travis Thomas here, George Balekji. Ay. How about those Bruins? Here are our top stories. Of course, we're going to talk about, as always, we'll hear from you, our co-host, and we need to hear from you. So call us, 617-790-0928. Tweet us. Do it all. We have got to talk about the hose job that the Bruins got from the refs. Plus, when will Brad Marchand be back? We'll discuss it. And, of course, we got to break down tonight's Celtics Game 4, and we'll give you our reactions to Elliott Wolf's promotion. George, one word for how you're feeling after that Bruins hose job. Just one word.
Led astray. I mean, I'm going to go 2 words. I'm not going to follow your rules if the refs aren't going to follow the own rules that they put in.
Fair.
Now, look, you watched your game last night.
Yes.
You stayed up to watch to the very end. You see a 3-2 final. You see the Bruins going down 3-1 in this series.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, the Florida Panthers are the better team in this series, by far. Top to bottom, physicality, playing-wise, because they've dominated the Bruins.
Get it off your chest, George.
And that's fine. Refs don't determine outcomes of games.
That's right.
But they swung this game. It was 2-0 after the first for the Bruins. It was 2-1. Bruins still had the advantage after the Anton Lundell goal.
Right.
Then just 4 minutes into the third period, Sam Bennett ties it up. And at first you're thinking cross-check, goalie interference, right? And you see a replay, and you say, cross-check aside, that's goalie interference. Because by the letter of the book,
yes,
goaltender interference refers to any attacking player who, by means of their stick or body, interferes or impedes the movements of the goaltender by actual physical contact.
Oh, so like cross-checking Charlie Coyle in the sway.
Well, that's
like that.
That's if I went into the crease of the Bruins and just pushed Jeremy Swayman.
Right.
If a defending player has been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player so as to cause a defending player to come into contact with his own goalkeeper.
Ah.
Yeah, see, so if I'm Sam Bennett and I go and push Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman, such contact shall be deemed contact initiated by the attacking player for purposes of this rule. So like when Sam Bennett shoves Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman, which prevents Jeremy Swayman to go from the far post to the near post in the crease, and at least making an attempt to stop the rebound, which Sam Bennett scored on, that would be goalie interference.
Sure.
So you see the replay. You see it happen as such. Cross-checking aside, it's goalie interference.
Yes.
You saw it happen live. You saw it happen on the replay. The 17,000 people in TD Garden saw it happen.
We all saw it.
The people watching at home saw it happen. The 10 guys on the ice saw it happen.
The refs saw it happen. I just don't know what they were doing.
And then they review it. And the explanation, which was put out by our own Sofia Jurkštovic, as she reached out to the NHL.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett shoving Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman and subsequent contact with Jeremy Swayman did not prevent Swayman from playing his position in the crease prior to Bennett's goal.
How?
Charlie Coyle is 6'3", 220 pounds, falling into Jeremy Swayman.
Right.
You think a 14-year NFL vet just ends up in that position?
No.
A, no. B, that affects Jeremy Swayman. Everyone saw this happen.
Yep.
If officiating is that bad that it determines the game, then it comes into play in this game.
That's right.
It was a 2-1 game. That goal should have been called back. It could have stayed 2-1, and then Barkov ties it after. Who knows? But you just want to see in a tight NHL series.
There's evidence.
That the 10 guys on the ice determine the outcome of the game. Not the dumbasses wearing the zebra stripes.
That's right.
And not the morons reviewing it in Toronto. That explanation is a flat lie and a mockery of our intelligence.
Yep.
If you drop down onto earth and watched a hockey game, you'd say, that was weird. The guy in the black sweater stopped the other guy in the black sweater from making a play. Shouldn't that be illegal? Yeah, no shit. Don't lie to the fans. Hockey fans are passionate. They're knowledgeable. In a sports city like Boston, you double down on both of those. But the NHL just put out a bullshit explanation on that blown call.
Yep.
Whatever the outcome of the game is, no one's talking about it because you walk away just knowing that the Bruins weren't given a fair shot.
That's right.
If the Panthers in 5-on-5 hockey made that all happen, who cares? That's fine. And if they come back and win, the guys on the ice determine the game. When I say guys on the ice, I mean the 5 skaters in front of the 2 goalies. Not the guys on the ice wearing the stripes. Just everything about that. When you see it unfold live, You know that's goalie interference. You watch a review. You know it's goalie interference. And the call's withheld, and then you get a BS explanation from the NHL. It's just making a mockery of the intelligence of the hockey fans out there, especially the Boston Bruins fans. And you bet your ass fans of an original six city, of an original six team, know that. But the refs don't. The guys reviewing it in Toronto don't. They know better, but for whatever reason, they don't want to look like they're wrong. Just all of that. The explanation. Sam Bennett shoving Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman, and subsequent contact with Jeremy Swayman did not prevent Jeremy Swayman from playing his position in the crease prior to Bennett's goal. Bull. Because Jeremy Swayman can't move because 220 pounds, 6'3", Charlie Coyle is falling into him because Sam Bennett shoved him into that. Before the puck is at Sam Bennett's stick. You can say whatever. Jeremy Swayman can't stop that. At least let the athletes on the ice make a play and have a chance. That's what the rules should do. They take everything out of it and let the guys on the ice make a play and compete. And they didn't. And the NHL fed a lie with that explanation. I don't care about the final score of this game. It's just when it's that bad, do your job. Be held to a high standard.
That's right.
You are the top league in the world. Beer league refs can make that call. High school refs can make that call. Midget league hockey refs, 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning at a random ice rink can make that call. But the guys at the top level can't. That's where it gets me. We watched it. This was a good game by two great teams.
Yes.
And the refs determined it because they changed the complexity of the game from that point on.
Yeah, the momentum shifted.
A few minutes later, Barkov, hey, great play by him, just stays on sides. Yeah, David Pastrnak and Jake DeBrusk in front of you. Yeah, you're going to take him for a ride and find out if they can play defense.
Yeah.
But the Bruins did everything right, and Charlie Coyle was shoved into Jeremy Swayman, and he's on his leg. Sway can't push far post to near in his own crease with Charlie Coyle standing in front of him. It's goalie interference by the book. By the book. It's not a ticky-tack. It's by the book.
I think most of us would still be pissed.
Dripping
but most of us, well, you preached, man, and that was well said. Look, most of us, I believe, could live with the call if it were made live and it was a bang-bang play, right, for lack of a better term. The issue is when you review that and you watch that over and over again, I just question what the hell are they looking at in those reviews? I mean, are you watching Coco Melon? Like, what are you doing? What are you actually looking at?
They don't want to be wrong. It's the egos in this.
So you have to go with the play you made live, even though you know it's wrong.
Even though there's
a problem. That's a problem.
You can't review the cross check like that. You can't in a review call a penalty, but it was goalie interference.
It was goalie interference
because it's again you're reviewing that Charlie Coyle ends up on top of Jeremy Swayman.
That's right.
And how did Charlie Coyle get there?
He was shoved
by Sam Bennett. And then it comes into if a defending player has been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player to cause the defending player to come into contact with his own goalkeeper, such contact shall be deemed contact initiated by the attacking player for purposes of this rule. That goal interference is any attacking player interferes or impedes the movements of the goaltender by any actual physical contact. That's literally from the rule book.
What happened.
Everything that goes into that. Sam Bennett shoving Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman and subsequent contact with Jeremy Swayman. Stop it right there. Yeah. That should be the explanation of why you overturned it. Because Charlie Coyle is making contact with Jeremy Swayman because he was shoved by Sam Bennett. Again, Charlie Coyle is a 14-year NHL vet. You think he just ends up there?
Of course
not. You
not.
see Sam Bennett shoving there. You said Sam Bennett shoved Charlie Coyle. And yes, so you just put out that explanation. And then you just give a middle finger to everyone in hockey.
Yes.
Basically, that's what you're doing. To the players on the ice that are busting their ass to have this series put together.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's astonishing. And if you're the NHL, get out of your own way.
Right.
What do you want? A Bruins win or a loss in this one? Seriously, actually talking dollars now? You want 6 games.
That's right.
This is a game-determining series call made by the NHL.
Yeah.
And it is BS from top to bottom.
And then what happens after that hose job? Everyone's so upset. Emotions are high. You got to try and refocus, get back into the game, and they go down and score again. Of course they do.
Great play by Barkov. I give Barkov that goal.
But that's what happens. You can't recover.
Yes, right? Yeah, then that's fair.
And that's a human. You can't even knock the Bruins for that. That's a human emotion.
Air's taken out of the building.
Yeah.
And the frustration you'd feel if you're a player on the ice.
Oh.
And you could come out and be like, no, refs don't determine it. Like you said, the human aspect of this.
Yes.
All. You did everything in your power to come out.
Bro.
Play great hockey in the first period. You're
was
outshot
strong.
15-5. You get 2 goals because what you are doing is the right thing. You're
Right.
putting pucks on their bad goalie.
Yes.
Who has an .862 save percentage coming into tonight.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Swayman on the other end, who you're riding with again, and is the guy, was great in that first period.
Yeah.
Good in that second period. The Lundell goal, hell of a passing, great quick shot by Lundell, and just a laser into the net. Everyone is doing what they should. All the players on the ice and the coaches on both benches are doing their job.
Yeah.
But the refs on the ice aren't.
Right.
And the people in Toronto aren't. Like, that's what it boils down to.
Ugh.
It's not that simple, but hey, actually it is. Yeah. That, like, the more I talk about it, the more I make it simplified. I feel like I'm explaining this to a 5-year-old.
Sure.
And that's how it has to be explained to the people reviewing this.
Mm-hmm.
The people that have their job to be in the game center, watch the call, watch a review on the ice, and go, hey, that's goal. It's goaltender interference. Call back. That's a 2-1 game. You have to explain to them like 5-year-olds. But they know better. They know what they're looking at. They're not stupid. They have those jobs for a reason. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to overturn it. And if it's to protect the guys on the ice, as in the refs, like, but why do you care? They blew a call. Hey, happened quick, fast time. I'd rather they call a goal.
Yes.
And come to review and go, no goal,
interference.
instead of calling goalie interference and saying no goal when it should have been.
That's what I'm saying. What were you looking at? Because if you make the call and we have to live with it and there is no review, everyone's ticked, but at least you don't have the insult to injury, the insult to our intelligence, as you said earlier. When you go look at it again, it's clear as day. Get the call right. Don't worry about, like you're saying, well, they didn't want to be wrong. Screw that. Get it right. This is a playoff series. You got to get it right here. This is not some random Tuesday in the regular season. That's not what this is. You have to get these calls right under review, especially. So you look at it again and the call stands. What the hell are we doing, NHL? I mean, you got to be kidding me here.
It's written out in the rule book. I'm giving you guys, like the NHL, I'm giving you the reasons rule book wise why you'd call that goalie interference. I'm giving you dollar reasons why.
Right.
Like you want this series to go longer. You want more games. You want more TV time. It doesn't make sense at all in this one. And like, yeah, we're in Essen, Bruins, right? We're in Boston. Yeah, of course. Like, I'm watching this with a microscope. This call. If it's Edmonton, Vancouver, I'm like, wow, that's a really bad call.
That's a horrible call.
And I go to sleep. But like, this is something that if you love hockey, you love the NHL playoffs, which is the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best, most intense playoffs
Absolutely.
in pro sports. And this just craps all over that.
Yeah.
And it makes a mockery out of that. And it's, again, an insult to the intelligence of the fans and an insult to the players that are putting everything to put their bodies out there on the ice and put a game together and like compete. It's just so insulting to everyone.
I think you said
I'm
it.
doing circles. I'm sorry, but it's just like, look at that.
There's a photographic evidence.
Charlie Coyle's like right knee
Right.
and thigh are on Jeremy Swayman's right
Absolutely.
leg and arm.
But
like,
that's not interference, right?
Like, how can Swayman's going to push through?
Right.
Again, like he's far onto the left side of the crease.
Yeah.
But at least if he pushes over, makes a lunging effort, and Bennett still gets it in, game is a game, hell of a play. You're putting pucks on net. Good job. Panthers, you're playing aggressive, and you're coming back in this game. But, like, Swayman can't make a bid on that one.
No.
That's goalie interference. You're impeding with his movement. And the reason his movement is impeded on is because you pushed his own player into him. If Charlie Coyle just skated into him, like, all right, man, that's tough. But again, that's Charlie effing Coyle, a 14-year NHL vet.
Right. Who knows
It's how
better.
he got there. It's what happened. By the way, Bruins, great first period.
Well,
2
here's
goals
the
on
thing.
5 shots. Charlie McAvoy, love that. Comes out, lays a hit. We're not talking about the game.
No.
Where if this was a
Talking
final
about the
score
refs.
and it was a Bruins going up 2-0, Panthers coming back 3-2, hell of a hockey game. Bruins have a lot of stuff to clean up. We'd be talking about that. But we just talked about the refs for like 11, 12, 13 minutes.
That's a thing, too. Coming into this game, all of us felt like, man, no Marchand out here. I don't know. This is going to be tough. Bruins answered the bell right off the gate. I mean, they came out high energy, matched the energy of the fans.
Pat Maroon chirping, Bobrovsky.
McAvoy's hit.
Getting in Bennett's face, Reinhart, Kachuk, like wanting a fight, pointing to the guys who wants to go.
Goal.
No one taking him up on that. Pasta throwing punches.
Yeah. I know.
Hitting dudes in the face again.
Everything was there for this team. Momentum was there. And then you get this, and it just, as George said,
Stunts
and I think you said it very right, it took the air, it took the energy right out of the building. Then it turns into rage, obviously. And then the team couldn't recover. Next thing you know, credit to the Panthers, stayed focused. This is when we need to strike now. Everyone's distracted. And they did. And that's the game. And those are the breaks. And now, listen, just like this team responded as we talk about that first period, this team showed up, responded without Marchand. We didn't know how they'd look. They looked fantastic. Well, now I wonder, and we'll get to Marchand in a minute, but now I wonder, how do you recover after this? You're down 3-1. Now, we've seen the flip side of this coin where the Bruins have blown a 3-1 lead just last year, the same team. But now you're down. You go through this. We're all in this town going to be complaining for the rest of the time about that call. How do you respond? How do you bounce back? And do you stave off elimination? Because Lord knows the Panthers at every turn have shown that they're the better team. However, before this ref hose job, the Bruins were in control of this game. So I wonder now, in an elimination, do or die, back against the wall situation, how does this Bruins team respond? Because obviously, cliche, Captain Obvious here, you have to take it a game at a time. You have to win one before you can come back and win this series if you're going to at all. But how do you bounce back from this? Does this carry over in a positive way? Or do you feel like there's our series, it's a wrap? I want to see that in the next game.
Is it a team that has to get on a plane, go down to Florida, play Tuesday?
And they're building. That's right.
And think about what it's been for the Bruins. Come out of a 7-game series against Toronto, close it at home, get on a plane right away, first 2 games in Florida, come back. At least like tonight was like finally some sort of mental, physical rest. Even though they lose at home, coming off a home loss before this one, get to your routine, mentally take a break, come out, play well. But now this one, you have to put this call behind you.
Right.
Get on a plane, go down to Florida, play in the opponent's building.
It's going to be insane.
It's
there.
like, and this is like, again, and it's more than just this game. You said this isn't a regular season game.
No, right.
On a Tuesday night in December.
Where you'd be mad, but it wouldn't affect your season.
This swings the series.
Absolutely.
Panthers could come back and win 3-2 tonight. It'd be a 3-1. But this is like the one that feels like the nail in the coffin. You're just waiting for the hammer to come down, and that can be Tuesday night. That's
brutal.
Where like Barkov made a hell of a play. Lundell made a hell of a play. The 2 goals by the Bruins, starting with Pasta on that one-timer from his spot, hell of a shot. Everyone did on both sides their job, like showing up, playing intense, well-executed playoff hockey.
Great game.
And it just gets crapped all over.
Yeah.
By the bad refs and the bad review.
That's right. It was a great game.
And that's where it's like, I understand you could just feel like exasperated.
Yes.
Completely mispronunciated that.
No, you nailed
exacerbated because you've done everything. Thank you for saying I nailed it when I did it. I pronounced it just as well as the refs called that play and reviewed it.
It was a great game that was held hostage by the Zebras. That's exactly what happened.
And that's where, like, if you're a player, you're like, what else do I have to do?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to come back from down 2-1 against this great team.
Yes.
These behemoths, these physical guys that are beating us up, and I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's where it's just like,
right.
What?
Yeah.
And that's where you just don't expect there to be an effect. And then, how do the Panthers get on the power play and score a goal?
Oh.
Is it Jacob Lauko tackled into Sergei Bobrovsky? Jacob Lauko ends up in Sergei Bobrovsky's lap because he was tackled into him. He ends up there because he was pushed into him and impeded his movement.
That's right.
Okay, that's goalie interference.
Yeah.
How did Charlie Coyle end up on Jeremy Swayman's leg?
Goalie interference. Say it with us, folks. He's spilling his tea all over the damn place. All right, now listen. George and I were not the only ones fired up about this. So were you. Hit the hotline, 617-790-0928. We want to hear from you. And also, you sent your tweets. We asked for the tweets. You brought them. Let's get into these because everyone was fired up, George. Not just us. The whole city's fired up right now. That is atrocious. You can sucker punch guys and cross-check someone in front of the net with no call. Absolute joke there from Nick Cattles.
Not like Nick, great point. Notice how I didn't even bring up the sucker punch. Like it just
Right.
I didn't bring up it. I mean, I said it was Sam Bennett because he made the play, but I didn't
Yeah.
even bring up that it was Sam Bennett.
Right.
I didn't bring up the sucker punch he had on Marchand
We'll
at
talk
the end
Marchand.
in the last game, right?
Yeah,
It's like that's how bad that blown call is.
I know.
That's how bad it was.
They kept coming in. I'm so over this series, man. Over and over again, the Panthers get the better side of every single call, no matter how blatant the infraction. That's a low-quality Bruins fan coming in with a high-quality take, because I completely agree with you, and so does George.
And yeah, it's if the refs are going to be this bad, like why watch?
Right.
If like the refs aren't going to get it right, and that's what decides a game. You're watching for the athletes. Like that's why you watch sports. You don't watch it for the refs.
Some fans wanted more from Jim Montgomery. Monty should look to be suspended or fined tonight. Cannot accept this bias from the refs.
No,
That's
no.
Bruins cap space.
Because you
weighing
don't
in.
like you're already down enough. You're just going down
don't
3-1.
need
You're in
any
their
more.
building. You need to be on that bench for your team.
And by the way, I saw him absolute cussing the refs out. Called them.
He let them know on the ice.
Oh yeah, he called them everything but a child of God.
Someone asked him point blank period, do you have faith in the NHL they'll get this right somehow? And he goes, just the best like non-answer, basically like, I have faith in my team.
Sure.
The NHL and their team, they'll do their job. Like basically, he didn't say yes, but he didn't just call him out. Like, no, I don't need the fine or suspension from Monty. I need him on the ice.
And
for
it
game
feels
5 on the
like
bench.
George does. Once again, goalie interference is simply whatever the refs want to be goalie interference.
Saw it happen with Coyle and Sway, Lauko and Bobrovsky. Same type of thing. Lauko's was worse than Bobrovsky's. Obviously, it falls into him, knocks him off his spot.
Right.
But that's it.
The NHL ignores another penalty to screw over the Bruins. Pretends to be shocked, Pat Lane. But you're not shocked because we're used to it. I think that pretty much covers it in terms of how we all feel.
It's
This is
even
ridiculous.
like a flop job by Bobrovsky called in an interference too, where he like almost
Yeah.
was leaving the crease.
Yes.
Complete sell.
Sold it.
Play the game. Play the game.
Play the game.
Play the game. That's fine. And that was called. Refs called it. It's goalie interference. That to me is ticky-tack. You're
Right.
rewarding someone for flopping.
Yeah.
You're just rewarding someone for selling. It's NHL playoffs. It's all about toughness. And Bobrovsky's selling like that. But the refs, by the letter of the law and
Yeah.
by the book, called goalie interference.
Yeah.
That time. But it didn't happen when it was Coyle into Swayman and Sam Bennett scores a goal. Like that's the disconnect there. I just don't get it. If you're
Well-
if you're going to call it one way, call it that one way. If you're not going to call it on
Call it
Coyle into
fair.
Sway,
That's right.
Don't call it when Bobrovsky flops.
You got to call it fair. I agree. Now, listen, let's talk some more dirty plays here. We know Sam Bennett sucker punched our guy Brad Marchand. He misses game 4. At this point, I mean, do you think we'll have the captain here back in an elimination game?
It's tough. I mean, it's upper body injury for Marchand. I think when I see that happen, the way he falls, it's a concussion. Just
Yeah.
based off what I think.
Right.
Even you see on the replay, the angle came out.
His head hit the...
Well, an angle came out to show the front view, and you see Bennett's fist make contact with Brad's head. He drops down, hits the boards,
Right.
like falls immediately. And you see Rodriguez on the Panthers even step up, like, like checking on Brad.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And you can't mess with
Yeah, I know.
concussions. Brad at his age, shoot, even if he was a rook, you can't mess with
And
that.
we don't know if it's
The
concussions.
safety
We're
of 'em.
both just speculating. We just play doctors on
When-
Boston has entered the chat.
When a
but
fist hits someone's
it
head and they
looks-
drop
right,
like that. Like
right.
you've watched fights and boxing and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Someone falls like that, you know what it is.
And this
that's
is a
scary.
physical series, too. Clearly, the Panthers are playing dirty. So it's like, why even risk it? You know, obviously, if you could stave off elimination, you stay alive in this series, then you bring them back. Maybe you give a boost to the team at a time when it needs it. But I tell you, I think I agree with you. And no one's going to want to play in this game more than Brad Marchand, obviously. He's going to try and want to go out there and keep the season going here. But I agree with you. I think for precaution purposes, he should be held out. And then if you survive, bring him back. By the way, hit us up, 617-790-0928. Also, send us your tweets. You see we get them on. We call you our co-host. It's Boston has entered the chat. That means all of us. So bring it on and get in here. All right, let's pivot to the Celtics. We got game 4 of their series tonight. Hopefully the refs just do their job and stay out of the G-damn way. We shall see. So let's play a game of Hate It or Love It. You like that? Game 4 edition. Hate it or love it. Jason Tatum is back to his prime self. Hate it or love it.
I need to see it 2 games, so I like it.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Went constantly attacked inside.
Yeah.
Went to the free throw line. Wasn't settling for shots. And I've said it too. I was hard on Tatum and said I need more efficient from him. I don't need 52% from the floor. 44% is nice. That's a start, right?
Sure.
But I need to see it multiple games. And maybe it was the outside talk getting to him. Maybe Joe Mazzulla, if I'm going to finally give Joe Mazzulla credit, found a way to inspire him to play harder.
Listen to you.
And actually find his offensive game. That's the job of a coach. Manage your superstars, get them to play their ability. Because I hated Jason Tatum's shot selection in this playoffs as a whole, but especially to start the Cleveland series. Like trying to find and get a scoring started from 3 with all the sidestep, backstep. No. Taking tough shots. That's his game, taking tough shots. At his size, he could rise up and shoot over guys. But he kept attacking inside throughout the game, playing hard, getting to the free throw line. So, Jason Tatum back to his prime self. I like it.
You like it.
Let me see a few more games, and then I'll love it.
You like it. I love it.
There you
and
go.
we want some more of it. Because, listen, Jason Tatum, I think, has figured this out. Against the Heat, yes, sure. Defense collapsing on you. Every defense collapses on you. What the hell's the difference? Defense is collapsing on you. Kick out. Let me help my teammates in other ways. Go grab boards. Do whatever. Play good defense. And he did that. And you could do that against the Miami Heat. With the Cavs, I mean, look, they're basically a slightly better Miami Heat. Okay, they don't belong on the court with the Celtics. They're not in their same weight class.
They got more scoring.
However, they are a little bit better than the Heat. Yeah. So guess what, Jason Tatum? You can't do what you did against the Heat, where you let everyone else eat and you're just there for the ride as a decoy, it feels like at times. Against the Cavs, you must assert yourself. We saw Game 1, this team blew the Cavs out without him being the primary scorer. Game 2, it seemed like all the guys were giving the ball to Tatum, go cook. He didn't. They got blown out. That was a light bulb. So I love this because I believe Jason Tatum now understands, okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy BS. I have to be the primary guy for my team, which is what we all expected anyway, because I can't do the same things against the Cavs or anyone else, for that matter, from here on out. Whoever they end up playing in the Eastern Conference Finals, and damn sure if they can get to the NBA Finals, whoever they play there, Jason Tatum must assert himself from here on out, period. So I love it. It's
what we needed to see from him,
yes,
where it got you to this point. And again, you beat a bad Heat team.
Right.
No dynamic scores on offense, okay on defense.
So he could get away with it.
And you are the most talented team, like a generational team from what we saw in the regular season, 64 wins. Yeah, get away with it from the Heat. Eventually, you have to find your shot if you're Jason Tatum, and you have to be the number one.
You have to be aggressive.
You're a better playmaker than Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown could be the better scorer. That's fine.
Sure.
But you have to be the number 1 or number 2 guy, clear cut. And Jason Tatum needs to find that. So this is the start against the Cavs. It can't be Jaylen Brown and Derek White carrying this team to a title. It's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown carrying this team to an NBA championship. That's how it will go.
It's interesting you said Derek White. Hate it or love it, Drew Holiday is the new Derek White.
Hate it. I mean, Derek White is such a better shooter in these playoffs than Drew Holiday, and different roles on offense. I mean, Drew Holiday is stick in the corner, be a great three-point shooter from that point, which he's been phenomenal for them all regular season and playoff-wise. And 2 out of his last 3 games good. And this shows the depth of the team where Derek's off. Drew picks up that scoring, shooting 53% from the floor. But I think Derek White is still the better scorer than Drew Holiday in his role in this offense. You could say what Drew was with the Bucks, which I pointed to.
Yeah.
But Derek White, shot volume-wise, efficiency from the floor.
Sure. Better
type
scorer.
Of defender,
He's
too.
a better scorer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
listen, I agree with you, but I love what I'm seeing from Drew Holiday. This is what champions look like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he knows now I have to be more aggressive. I have to go and score. I have to assert myself. Much like Jason Tatum, where we were just saying, throughout these playoffs so far, Drew Holiday, scoring-wise, has not really been there. But he's done all the true point guard things. He's been a great facilitator. He's played fantastic defense. He's been a tremendous leader, which I just believe that is who he is. But now we're seeing a more aggressive Drew Holiday. My only wish is that Joe Mazzulla, I don't know, actually ran plays for him. That'd be great. But it's right now, as a champion, Drew Holiday's taking it in his own hands. Hate it or love it, Al Horford as a starter. Look, I hate it. I love old man Al. But, let's get Porzingis back. I mean, listen, let me give Al some credit here. Let me put some respect on his name. He's playing great defense. He looks is a little long in the tooth now. He's showing his age when it comes to scoring. He's not scoring like he used to. He's not hitting those open shots like he used to. But defensively, effort, we understand. He's still giving you all that. He's still an incredible role player, an incredible leader on hopefully a championship team. So I do want to put respect on Al's name, but I hate it. Let's get Porzingis back ASAP.
Yeah. I don't love it, but I have to love it.
Well,
Al Horford as a starter,
You have to
it's like when you have a troubled kid that's always a headache. You're like, I have to love you because you're mine. I don't want to. Once you're 18, you're out of here. But if it's not Al Horford, you got Luke Cornett.
Oh, God.
And that's a state of the Celtics. They always needed front court depth all throughout the regular season. And they got that in a way in Xavier Tillman, but his role's been very limited, even with KP going down. So if it's not Al Horford and his shooting struggles, but he still brings it defensively, as you said.
And he's a leader.
You have the Jays, you have Derek White, you have Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard. Cool. Those guys bring the scoring.
Sure.
Al Horford as a starter. The offense looks different without Porzingis because of all the action he can create from the post, from the free throw line. His passer's a shooter off the pick and roll.
Dangerous.
Al is different. You may not love it, but you have to love it.
You better.
Veggies, you don't love them, but you need to love them because it's good for you.
Hey, Al is Brussels sprouts, dog.
Dude, Brussels sprouts that bring all the bad gas.
Hate it or love it. The Celtics will win the series in 5 games.
Love it.
I mean, look, I love it too, but before this series, I remember you kind of jumped when I said it. I like the Celtics in 6 because I thought the Cavs would steal a few. But, I mean, we all watch these games. Look, I'm going to say something that's kind of bold but also obvious. The only team in the Eastern Conference that can beat the Celtics are the Celtics. Mm-hmm. It is so obvious, is it not? There's no team that when the Celtics are right in the East that can line up and beat them. It's just not. And you damn sure ain't going to beat them 4 times. The Celtics, from what I have seen now, are the only team that can beat themselves. So I'm going to go 5 games here because I think after game 2, they woke up and they understand.
What was it in the loss? 118-94. I'm looking up real quick the difference 3-point shooting. Celtics were 20% from 3. And the Cavaliers as a team, that's right, 46%. That's the game they steal. You knew it eventually would happen where the Celtics, when you're shooting 45 threes a game,
right?
If it's not hitting, that's not your night. You chalk it up and you move on to the next one. That's how the Celtics play.
That's right.
But they're good for that once a series against these bad teams. That's why I love Celtics in 5. I said it from the beginning.
You did.
Jarrett Allen or not, I said Celtics in 5. Whether he comes back or not, he's still sitting out with the rib injury. It will be Celtics in 5. The Cavaliers have the more dynamic score than what the Heat do, obviously, with Donovan Mitchell, and he's gone out and gotten his own. But it's the layers that you need to attack this team, where they're just not making shots. They're getting good looks. Darius Garland, the way he's dictating the pace in the game and letting it come to him in the 3rd and 4th, and the last game was good, but it was getting within 7. Can't get over that. Getting within 12, losing it. Getting within 13, 14, losing it. And the margin growing bigger and bigger of that deficit, the Cavs don't have the guys to keep up with the Celtics. So that's why I think it goes 5 games.
Let's call an audible now. Talk Patriots here. Elliot Wolf now officially named the new executive vice president of player personnel.
Interesting.
Most teams call this a GM, but it's okay. Around here, it's this. Executive vice president of player personnel. But Elliot Wolf, not a shock at all to you and I. You and I both thought, depending on the going into the draft, we said he's got to have a solid draft here for some job security. Both of us felt like he did. I know in hindsight now, you have said a couple of the picks along the way throughout the draft felt like reaches. He certainly wasn't great with free agency. They tried, but whatever. The main thing here, and I think both of us agree on this, is Drake May at number 3 overall. He didn't overthink. He didn't try some shrewd trade back, get more picks. He didn't do the stupid thing and take J.J. McCarthy at 3 instead of Drake May. He did the solid. Now, Drake may not work. He could even be a bust. But you will look back and you will say at the time, you understand why they made the pick. At the time, it was the safe pick. It was the smart pick. And that's why I think he got this job personally. I think the Drake May move at 3 was really what solidified him getting this role. Now, we'll see what happens over time, but that's why he got this.
I think it's also, he did do a good job of keeping the in-house big-name guys and signing them to extensions.
He definitely did.
Kyle Duggar, Christian Barmore, Mike
The
Onwenu,
core.
getting Josh Uche on a discount, Anthony Jennings keeping them there, right? These are key guys. Hunter Henry in the building to help groom and help develop their tight end room. But in true free agency, you didn't get Calvin Ridley.
No.
You didn't get a left tackle.
No.
You didn't get Tyler Boyd.
Right.
So it was a right choice. He also drafted this team. Give the GM that drafted this team full-on control of this roster and give them 3 years to 4 years when these guys can develop, including the quarterback.
Yep.
He was the guy, once Bill Belichick was fired, that was coined as this is the front runner to be the next GM, lead of the personnel department for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. The Crafts went about it in the weirdest way possible, where it's, we're going to let them draft and reevaluate the position. Then we're going to open it up to interviews to satisfy the room. Just do that right from the beginning.
Right.
And let Elliot Wolf get a free reign. Like, I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the why, but whatever. It led to Elliot Wolf getting the job. It's the right hire. He goes out, gets Drake May. He gets 2 receivers in Jalen Polk and Javon Baker that are receivers that play to his strengths, can win downfield, catchable balls, reliable over the middle. Drake May's favorite place to throw. But you drafted a right tackle, trying to fit him into the left. You didn't get a left tackle at all. Maybe do that in future drafts. But there's still holes in this, but it was the right hire by Robert Kraft by default. This guy was in that building. He's been there for a while. He's learned from the Green Bay Packers. He learned elsewhere.
From his dad.
Not even putting his dad, Ron Wolf, into account. But yes, of course, learned from his dad since he was like 13, 14,
Absolutely.
being in draft rooms.
Absolutely.
But learned as a professional outside of the building, and I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Go learn how other teams do it, then come to the Patriots, learn how they do it, and combine both knowledge. So I think it was the right hire. But you think of the free agency, and that's where I'm like,
they dropped the ball.
To be determined. I give him a C+ as a GM.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, look, he's a temporary, de facto GM, and now it's official. But yeah, I agree. I mean, keeping the young core together was a great move. And then obviously the draft we'll see over time, but it felt like a very solid draft, particularly with Drake May at 3, as we talked about. And then free agency, you dropped the ball, but it wasn't so much that they dropped the ball because they were incompetent. They just weren't able to land anyone. They tried. I mean, they did throw a bag at Calvin Ridley. He got a bigger bag. He wanted to go play somewhere else. There was no zest for him to come to Foxborough. So, I don't necessarily put all the blame. And then when you saw, by the way, let's go back to Calvin Ridley for a second. When you saw what he got, you sort of understood, okay, Patriots made him a fair offer, and then he got more money. Did you really want to overpay for Calvin Ridley? I sort of at least get it. Do you need a true number 1 wideout? Yes. Is Calvin Ridley Jerry Rice? Hell no. So I'm even not going to knock them per se too much on that.
In a 2-year deal with a third year being a dummy deal.
Yes.
By the time he's off the books and Jalen Polk and Javon Baker have come along and they can teach them how to be receivers, why not make that signing? Or more importantly,
I think he got a longer deal.
Why not get an actual left tackle in Jonah Williams? In a 3+4, that's fine with Ridley. Now I think that's what it was. It was 3+4.
I think so. I think
but
it's
I'm just
3-4.
saying, if you're throwing the guaranteed money out there, when you have all this cap space,
right,
go get a left tackle. If you overpay, guess what you're doing? You're paying the tax because your roster sucks, but you also are getting experienced guys in those position rooms to help groom these rookies you're drafting.
That's right.
And to help your rookie quarterback come along.
That's right.
Wow, this guy Ridley's more dynamic than anyone on this roster. He's helping me, my confidence grow, helping me make plays. He's helping bring Javon and Jalen Polk along. Like, that's what you pay for when your roster's that bad. So why not at least go out and do that? You can say the price of Calvin Ridley, and I get it, but pay for talent.
Yeah.
When you have it. And then in 3 years, guess what? You're looking at extending Drake May or your rookie receivers. Well, he's off the books at that point, and that's roster building.
Hey, here's a fact. He's going to be here to make those decisions. Let's see what he does in free agency next year because now he has the gig. So let's give him some more time. He's earned that right. No doubt about it. All right, let's go back to hockey here. So the Utah expansion team, I guess, put out a survey for fans to help choose their team name. Look, I covered a football team in Washington that did this. It was a disaster. The fans wanted Red Wolves, and the owner at the time didn't give a rat's ass what the fans thought. So he actually went to the lowest voted name, which at the time was, the Commanders. And they ended up with that. So these never work. Nonetheless, let's run through some of these here. So we have a list of all the names. What do you like here? Frost, Fury, Blast, Powder, Freeze. I like Utah Freeze. That's one that jumped out to me.
But there are 7 teams in Canada. What is Edmonton? Winnipeg?
What does that mean?
It's colder there. Calgary. And you have the balls to say, we're the freeze, we're the frost, we're the snow.
I just think it sounds cool.
The powder?
The Utah Freeze? Oh, powder's a hard stop.
Powder you can't.
You can't do powder.
The memes will do its own thing.
Yeah, you can't.
If you were in Miami and you want to be the powder, that's fine. But you can't be the powder. You just can't be the powder as a team. The Freeze, are you a USHL team?
Hey, don't knock the Freeze. That's a beautiful name. What are these other?
The Fury? The Canyons? What are you, a PLL team?
Bro, there's a Utah Yeti. Is that, you're going to knock Freeze? Don't you dare say Yeti's cool.
Western Conference Finals, the Seattle Kraken against the Salt Lake Yeti.
Stop it.
No, you know why you don't do Yeti? Because you're competing with these guys. People are going to Google Yeti, and this is the first thing that's going to come up.
You also
Coolers and tumblers.
You can't do the ice either. Utah Ice.
Canada.
You have an obsession with the weather in Canada.
Who are you to say we're the ice when you have a team in Edmonton? Calgary's the Flames. I don't know how they got that name.
Good point.
But, who are you to say that?
So what do you want then, bro? None of these are good. How about this? Utah HC Hockey Club.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. What are you, an MLS franchise or a minor league soccer team?
Utah Caribou? Who the hell's afraid of caribou?
A caribou's a big elk.
Well, yeah, you see them dead on the side of the road all the time. They're roadkill.
To be honest, I hate all of these. Mountaineers.
They all
Mountaineers
suck.
may not be bad, but it's just it's West Virginia.
It's West Virginia. I'm telling you, bro, Freeze is the way to go. You're coming around.
The Squall? Hell no.
How about the Glaciers? That's not hard to say at all.
No. So can I tell you, I came up with 3 team names.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
The Utah Grizzlies. Grizzly Bears are in Utah.
All right.
Or the Salt Lake City Grizzlies. SLCG. Okay. Salt Lake City Grizzlies.
It's a mouthful for their play-by-play guy.
All right, how about this one? You're going by Salt Lake in this one.
Okay.
The Salt Lake Saints.
Salt Lake Saints. Okay, I don't hate that one.
Okay, all right. Here's my last one.
I don't hate that one.
The Utah Coyotes.
I hate it.
Well, they took over the Arizona Coyotes,
yeah,
so that's why but there's coyotes found all over the state of Utah.
Yeah, but that's got a bad. It's like curse now. You can't go Coyotes.
Salt Lake Saints.
I don't hate the Saints, and I don't hate the Freeze.
You know which one I hate the most?
Those should be the finalists.
The Freeze. Whatever. I hate the Outlaws.
The who?
The Utah Outlaws.
You hate the Outlaws?
You're a state full of Mormons. You guys can't even drink Pepsi. And you're going to say we're the Outlaws? No.
I'm sorry. Brendan was saying something in my ear, and then you got going off on Outlaws and Utah. There's a lot going on. Right, Brendan, I'm sorry. I have no idea what you said.
You said Freeze. I have to go with one here.
The funniest thing you said all night was powder can't be in Utah. It can only be used in Miami. That was fantastic.
The Utah Swarm.
That's dumb.
I know. It sounds like a lacrosse team.
Hey, let us know what you think. Please hit our hotline, 617-790-0928. Tweet us. What should the Utah hockey team be called? Maybe the refs can start a team there and go hose them. For all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Travis Thomas, George Balekji. Screw you, refs. Boston has entered the chat. Till next time when we do it again. Peace.
Later.